So today we are going to discuss about beneficial microorganisms. Okay, beneficial microorganisms. So what are beneficial microorganisms? We all know that there are the microorganisms which are beneficial as well as which are harmful also. Till now, we have seen all harmful microorganisms. We only know about the harmful microorganisms because we all will be suffering from a lot of diseases, various types of diseases. So behind these diseases, there are certain microorganisms which are responsible for the cause of disease. So we all know that the microorganisms are harmful. There is a negative effect on ourselves, that we all just think negatively that microorganisms are only harmful, but there are microorganisms which are beneficial also. So today we'll discuss about the beneficial microorganisms. We'll see what are the type of organisms which can be beneficial also. So scientists are been working with microbes, and they have found that the microbes there exist which are useful also. So these beneficial microorganisms which help us in various industries, including pharmaceutical, food, and biotechnology, these microorganisms are being used. Now we'll see what are these. The yeast. Yeast is a unicellular organism. So yeast is widely used in baking purpose, isn't it? We usually use to bake cakes and bread. Okay, yeast is being used for baking, baking bread, baking cakes. So if you just keep two or three, I mean, a few crystal, a few pieces of this yeast, it will be in the form of powder also. So if you just keep this, if you just mix this yeast in your dough or dough of cake or bread which you're preparing, if you mix this yeast, then if you keep it for 1 hour or a certain time of a certain period, then the dough will raise. The dough will raise because of this yeast. Mixing of this yeast, your bread and cakes will get nice texture. They'll be very soft. And now coming to another species, Penicillium is a species which is extracted from penicillin. So it is the substance which is used as an antibiotic. You all know antibiotics, you all use antibiotics. Usually you've heard, I think you've heard about antibiotics. Why you use antibiotics, children? Why we use antibiotics? Yes, Akshara?
Ma'am, we use antibiotics to reduce to reduce the hurt, and also we use it to decrease the bacteria, the dirty bacteria which we get while the hurt is. Um, it also reduces the dirty bacteria, ma'am.
Where the bacteria are there?
Ma'am,
Yes, yes. Where the bacteria will be present, from where it will reduce.
from suppose we fall on the dirty ground, ma'am. Through the dirty ground, the bacteria will get into our body. So if we use these antibiotics, we can reduce the bacteria.
It's okay that you can reduce the bacteria, but it's not like that. The process is different here. If you are suffering from any disease, even if you're suffering from any disease, then you can use this. The doctors prescribe antibiotics to reduce your disease. If it is a bacterial disease, then you can use these antibiotics to reduce the bacterial spread, bacterial they produce themselves in our body. To reduce the spread of the bacteria, we use antibiotics. So let us now know a few more bacteria, a few more microorganisms which are used in food industry. Yes, Mahima, you want to say something?
No, ma'am. It reduces the bacterial infections.
Okay, yes, good. So it reduces the bacterial infection when you take this in the form of an injection. Antibiotics is being given in the form of an injection. It is being given by your doctor, and even you can have it in the form of a tablet also. Okay, so microorganisms, there are a few more microorganisms which are used in food industry. So in the food production, to prolong the shelf life of food and to get rid of harmful or toxic ingredients, the food industry, they use the microorganisms like lactobacillus. We all know lactobacillus is used for what? Lactobacillus, where we can see this lactobacillus? Yes, Madhav, you can unmute yourself. Yes, Madhav, can you give me the answer? Yes, Nagadatta. Nagadatta, you can unmute yourself.
And that converts milk into curd.
Okay, yes, good. It converts milk into curd. So lactobacillus is the bacterium that converts milk into curd. Yes, okay, good. The process of curd formation from milk is called as curding of milk. So this contains lactose, contains a sugar. It's a sugar, it's a form of sugar which is called as lactose. So the bacterium, lactobacillus bacterium, it converts this lactose in the milk into lactic acid. It converts this lactose into this sugar into lactic acid. This bacterium helps. Which bacterium? Lactobacillus. It converts. This is the point to remember. I'm telling you again and again. So the things which I'm repeating, it's the points to be remembered. So lactobacillus, it converts lactose in the milk into lactic acid. Okay, and even the dairy products like cheese and paneer are made by the action of the bacteria, or the same lactobacillus and streptococcus. A substance called rennet is then added to increase and improve the quality and speed up the curdling process. So in the industries, usually now the curd is being packed and it's being sold in the market. You're getting curd also, like in the same way like you're getting the milk packets. You're even getting the curds also. So what is happening in this industry? They are using, along with this lactobacillus, they are using a product which is called as rennet. So here you can see, sorry, so this rennet is being used. This is used, is added to increase and improve the quality of the curd and increase the process of curdling process. The milk will be very quickly and very perfectly it been converted into curd. Okay, so now if you just, I'll just clear it off. So if you see this, probiotic drinks are made by adding specific strains of bacteria which help to improve the digestion and safeguard the immune system and keep the body's intestinal flora in balance. So even in your intestine, there is a beneficial bacteria which is present already in your stomach, in your intestines. What is that bacteria? Can I just know it from you? What is the bacteria which is already present in your stomach? The bacterium which is there in your stomach, which, yes, okay, no one? E. coli, Escherichia coli. So this E. coli is present in your intestines, in your stomach, in your intestines. So it helps in digestion. And if the number increases, the number of this E. coli, one second, E. coli. So if the number of this E. coli, it increases when you're suffering from, when you are having any junk food from outside, if you have any food infection. So in that case, in the case of food infection, the number of E. coli, it increases. The unfavorable condition due to this, due to any like food infection or any cause, because of that, the E. coli, it increases in number and it may convert into any, it may just show disease conditions like you will be getting diarrhea. So these can be converted into harmful when they increase in number. When you're having any junk food, when you're uh, eating something, when you have drink the dirty water, not dirty water, if you have drunk the water which is not purified, then there might be any unfavorable conditions. You might have just consumed something, then the increase in number will be there in these organisms, in these beneficial organisms. The E. coli may increase in number. So now if you see, so these, they help in digestion, and there are certain microorganisms, and these probiotic drinks will be there. So in those drinks also certain strains of bacteria will be added to help in digestion and to improve the body's intestinal flora. And now coming to yeast. Yeast is a single-celled fungi. It's a fungi. So it is single-celled, unicellular, plays an important role in making of bread, cakes, and pastries. Yeast is added to the mixture of sugar, flour, and warm water. The dough is left undisturbed for some time. Respiration by yeast causes the dough to raise. What happens in the yeast? The yeast, they show respiration. So there will be gases which are released by the yeast during respiration. So these gases, they raise this dough, and then the cake or the bread which is being baked, they will have a nice texture. We will get a nice soft cake or soft bread. Is this clear, children? Are you understanding it or not? I'll just unmute you all. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Yes, are you understanding me? Yes, everyone.
Understanding, ma'am.
Understanding the complete topic till now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, children, now in this yeast, the fermentation process takes place. Even in the wine and beer, you all know, I think, wine and beer, in these wines and beers also, the fermentation process takes place. So if you see, in the case of wine and beer, what happens is the yeast is grown on natural sugars present in grains of barley, wheat, rice, or fruits like grapes. In the absence of oxygen, the fermentation process takes place. Fermentation process takes place in the absence of oxygen. So in this fermentation process, it causes the sugars to convert into alcohol. When this yeast is mixed in the production of wine and beer, the yeast is grown in the absence of oxygen. So this ferment, when the yeast is been added to the barley or the fruits like grapes, So this fermentation process takes place in the yeast. What happens? What causes this fermentation? This yeast, it converts the sugar into alcohol. So by this, there is a certain procedure to prepare the alcohol, but how it happens, the fermentation, which process takes place in this, in the preparation of this wine and beer, fermentation process takes place. What is actually the fermentation process? The process of conversion of sugar into alcohol. It's called as fermentation. So this fermentation process takes place for the production of wine and beer. And now even the fermentation process also occurs in the for the sake of preparation of this curd, and even uh, you're just converting this milk into curd. So in this also fermentation process takes place, but the procedure is different. Now alcohol is not formed. The things which are there, it depends on the things. Now you are taking the products like barley and the grapes, fruits like grapes, for the production of wine and beer. Now in this case, the fermentation process is taking place in the same way, but the products are different. But in the case of curd and milk, the products are different. They are curd and milk. Now the same fermentation process takes place in them also. Okay, but products are different. Lactic acid bacteria are used to make dried, fermented, and frozen products such as salami, pepperoni, and dried ham. So this bacteria is also used to make dried and fermented frozen products. Usually it's we have to avoid using these frozen products, but usually the lactic acid bacteria are used in these. And now if you come to acetobacter, this is a type of bacteria. Acetobacter bacteria are used to produce vinegar from alcohol. Vinegar is prepared from alcohol by using this bacteria. What is the name of the bacteria which is used in the production of vinegar? What is the name of bacteria which is used in the production of vinegar? I'll ask you tomorrow also. I'll ask you these questions tomorrow also. These points you have to write it down. You have to note it down in your notebooks, so that tomorrow if I ask, you can easily tell me. Please note down these points, children, so that it will be easy for you to refer what is there. Just you can go through these points and you will be having an idea that what happened, what actually was discussed in the class. Okay. Yes, Akshara.
Ma'am, what should we note down, ma'am?
I'm underlining it.
Fermentation causes the sugars to convert into alcohol.
This one also. Okay, or else without writing, you can even underline it in your course book. It's better you underline in your course book.
Ma'am, is it there in our course book?
Yes, you can underline it. I'll just give you from the beginning also. But this page is open in my slide, so I am underlining it. Page number 17. Page number 17. C, D. You can underline it with a pencil. Underline it with the pencil.
Plays an important role in making bread, cakes, and pastries. Respiration by yeast causes the dough to rise. Yeast is responsible for fermentation process which produces
Are
wine
you all
and beer.
underlining?
Then fermentation causes the sugars
This
to
whole
convert
thing you
into
have to underline.
alcohol. Ma'am, that
This whole thing you have to underline. Underline it, children.
grown on natural sugars present in grapes and barley, wheat,
Yes, once
rice,
again, I'll just unmute you all.
in the
Ritvik
absence of
Rao,
oxygen.
what's your doubt?
Fermentation causes
Ritvik Rao, what's your...
5 minutes.
Yes, Nayana? Nayana, I have unmuted you. Sahasra? Sahasra, any doubt?
Ma'am wants to explain about yeast, ma'am.
Okay, I'll explain. Yes,
Ma'am, what is this page number, ma'am?
page number 17.
Page number 70. Where it is, ma'am?
Page number 17.
Yes, ma'am.
See,
I
I have
got it.
even given A, B, C, D. I have given C, D, E. You can even underline it. Yes, Dhruv, what's your
Yes.
doubt?
Ma'am, share this PPT, ma'am.
Okay, it's there in your course book. You don't have course book?
I have, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, don't give today week 3, ma'am. Give tomorrow, day after
I will
tomorrow.
share it. I will share it. It is there already in your course book also.
Ma'am, don't give week 3, ma'am, today.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Tomorrow you give, ma'am.
Okay. Because ma'am will also be sending you the notes for chemistry and physics. So there will be a problem for me to send you.
Ma'am, still they did not start chemistry, ma'am.
Okay. So here if you see, you all have underlined it.
Yes, ma'am.
And this one also, acetobacter bacteria are used to produce vinegar from alcohol. And the last point also, H. Acetobacter bacteria are used to produce vinegar from alcohol. If I ask you any questions from this, you must be able to give me the reply tomorrow. Please go through this lesson once again after all your classes finish. Bacteria also help in ripening of tea leaves. Yes, Dhruv, any doubt?
No, ma'am, that time only, ma'am.
Okay, 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 okay. You can mute yourself. Yes, can I change the slide? I'll just erase everything. I think you all have noted it down. Yes. Okay, sorry.
yes, ma'am.
No, actually, I thought of, yes, Ritvika, what's your doubt?
Ma'am, once explain fermentation process means what, ma'am?
Fermentation process. Yeah, I'll explain to you once again. So here fermentation process is nothing but it is happening in the absence of oxygen. If you're just adding this yeast, if you don't add also, usually what happens, what your elders do is they just cover and they keep it dark. They just cover this milk. They'll add some curd in the milk and they'll keep it in, they'll cover it up and they'll keep it in the dark so that it will ferment quickly because it is happening in the absence of oxygen. They'll keep it in a corner where there is dark so that the fermentation happens because the fermentation is carried out in the absence of oxygen. Even if you want this dough in the fermentation, in the case of fermentation of the dough, like if you're preparing cake or bread, then what you have to do is you have to add some yeast, some amount of yeast in that. It's available in the market. Yeast is available freely in the market, so you can get that yeast. You can add it if you're baking a cake. Then it makes the cake to dough. It allows the dough to raise. Why? Because in this yeast, it carries out respiration. So during this respiration of yeast, what happens? The gases will be released. So these gases help the dough to raise. And even in the case, here one thing to remember, the products will be different, the procedure will be different, but the fermentation process is same. Fermentation is nothing but it the process which happens in the absence of oxygen. So this fermentation process is different. The procedure, the things which you use is different. Like you're using barley, you're using wheat, rice, fruits like grapes for the production of wine and beer. Okay, for the production of wine and beer. Here, the same thing you're using yeast for the fermentation process. The same yeast is used, the same process takes place, but the things which you are using are different. Okay, is this clear now? I'll just unmute you all once. Yes, any doubts? You can just ask me, I'll clear it off. Now it's clear?
Ma'am,
No, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Yes,
probiotic drinks means what, ma'am?
probiotic. I'll show you one second. So if you see here, before raising, how it will be, and after raising, how its texture will be. Its appearance will change. If you keep it for a while, so how the dough will raise. So the microorganisms are responsible. The yeast is responsible for the fermentation process. And even a few more microorganisms which are used for the preparation of medicines also. Now we'll see what are the types of medicines which are prepared by these microorganisms. So microorganisms are a source of antibiotics. So antibiotics are being extracted from the microorganisms like penicillin. Bacteria and fungi like streptomycin. Please underline it, children. Fifth period. Just one second. Sorry, children. Yes, Akshara, you have any doubt? Akshara, you have raised the hand. Yes, you can unmute yourself.
Ma'am, I couldn't hear you, sir.
You can't hear me? Now you can hear me? Okay. Yes, children, you all can hear me? You all can hear me properly?
We can hear you, ma'am.
Okay, I have unmuted you.
Ma'am, antibiotics means once again explain, ma'am.
Yeah, I will explain.
Ma'am, before rising means what, ma'am?
Before, when you do this, when you knead this dough, when you are kneading this dough, you have seen your mother kneading the dough for chapati? You have seen your mother
Yeah,
kneading.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Before rising means what? Rising means what, ma'am?
But in the
Oh,
case of,
yes, ma'am. They'll do
Mixing up,
like this.
in the case of chapati, you're not mixing any yeast. But
We'll
in the
mix,
case of
ma'am.
for the preparation of cake and bread, you'll mix.
Yes, ma'am. That will become smooth and soft.
Yeah. So
Then yes, ma'am.
That will
after
Yes,
also
ma'am.
increase its size also, ma'am.
after mixing this dough, you're usually they'll cover it with cloth. They'll cover that vessel in which the dough is being kneaded. It will be covered with a cloth,
Yes, ma'am.
with a damp
For
cloth,
some time.
cloth, so that the air might,
Wet cloth, ma'am.
yeah, the air must not enter inside because the fermentation process it takes place in the absence of
Oxygen.
yes,
Oxygen, yeah.
absence of oxygen. I'll just show you.
Ma'am, this
Yeah,
streptomycin means
I'm
what, ma'am?
coming
This thing.
towards that.
And what if oxygen enters, ma'am?
The fermentation process might not take place and we may not get any, the bread will not be that much soft. You'll not get perfect results. You'll not get the cake, might not, the bread, I mean, the dough might not raise. Anything might happen.
Properly.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'll just mute and I'll just continue this because we have very less time. Yeah. Only 3 minutes left. So the bacteria and fungi, like streptomycin. Please underline this, children. I'll just one second. Please underline it. Antibiotics produced from bacteria and fungi are streptomycin, tetracycline, and erythromycin. When a disease-carrying microbe enter our body, the body produces antibodies. Your body has a capacity. Firstly, your body will try to defend. Your body will try to fight with the diseases. Okay, your body will try to fight first with the diseases, with the bacteria which has been invading your body, which has been entered into your body. So your body will be having WBCs and RBCs. We all know that. So what these WBCs will do, the white blood corpuscles, they just fight with the intruders. They just fight with the organisms which are being entering into your body. So while this battle is going on, while this fighting is going on between your white blood cells inside your body and the microorganisms, which the disease-causing organisms which have entered into your body, the fight is going on now. So what happens? Your white blood corpuscles may not be produced that much because uh, because of this scarcity of the immunity will be very less inside you. And now during this process, what happens? You'll be suffering with fever. You'll be showing some symptoms of the disease. You'll be suffering with fever. Fever is the indication that something is being entered into your body. Some disease is there inside your body. So then you have to rush to a doctor, and then the doctor will do a do certain types of tests to know with what type of disease you are suffering from. Yes, children, am I not audible to you all? I have unmuted you. You can just respond to
Audible,
me if
ma'am.
there are
Audible, ma'am.
audible.
Can hear you.
You're just typing the messages that I'm not audible to you all. So that's why I just unmuted you all. Okay, is it clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Time is very less, children, only 1 minute and less than that is left. So it's better.
Completed, ma'am, already.
We'll continue it tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So any doubts?